What's up, everybody? It's your boy Chaos. And no, you are not here for the wrong show. This is the Wrestling Republic Daily Show. But today I am your host. As many of you know, I am the host of Take It to the Table. But for today, a special episode. I'm gonna be hosting this. It's gonna be a very SmackDown heavy show. We're obviously gonna be talking about, of course, the unveiling of the new WWE Undisputed Universal Championship. All the craziness has been going on, especially at the end after that unveiling. And yeah, just get everyone's thoughts on obviously what they think of the Roman Reigns 1,000-day celebration and everything else. So yeah, make sure you strap yourself in, grab some popcorn, join in the comments as well for your thoughts on certain segments. But yeah, I am not here alone. I am joined here by none other than Coby. How you doing today, sir? How you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm here. SmackDown happened last night, and obviously we had a lot to talk about, both Bloodline and Championship related, as well as some of the other events that went down. Obviously, this is a different setup, and this is a different combination of stars. We have, of course, yourself. This is your first time hosting. I had mine sometime in February, and it's often forgotten about. And then we also have someone which I'm sure you'll introduce shortly after. One of my reviewers too. So.
Yes, of course. It's not just Coby that's here. We also got David here joining on the show. How you doing today, sir?
I am not too bad. Thank you very much on this gorgeous Saturday in London. Off the back of a not too bad SmackDown with a very interesting main event segment. I'm wearing a Singing in the Rain t-shirt. Unfortunately, I was singing in immense amount of pain having to deal with that awful belt design, but I will save that. I will save.
You could have waited until we start getting into it.
I will save my tears. I will save my tears.
Oh my goodness! Fair enough. Yes, obviously we have got to touch on the unveiling of the new World Championship for Roman Reigns. Of course, it was unveiled at the end of the show as the main segment of the evening. Obviously, it was meant to be the celebration of Roman Reigns' 1,000 days as champion. Actually, it was 1,006 at the time of SmackDown airing. But yeah, it's been pretty divisive, I must say, of the World Championship design. Even during the show, it was a very mixed reaction. I could even hear it. It was like, okay, what's so different about this one? So yeah, it was it's pretty different for me myself. It felt like they really played it safe. Obviously, they did take their chances with the quote unquote secondary title on Raw. But yeah, I don't think either one of them is better than the other. I think they're all pretty much like, as you can see right there, absolutely painful right there. But yes, it is the World Heavyweight Championship right there. So yeah, I just want to get your guys' thoughts on which one do you think is better, or what was your initial reaction when you first saw this. So I'm very curious to hear what Dave was going to say about this, as he could not wait to get it off his chest. So let me know your thoughts. What do you think of the new World Championship design?
Dear God in heaven! Right, I should start off by saying I actually quite like the WWE World Heavyweight title design. I don't love it; it's nothing on the big gold, but I don't. A lot of people were complaining about the logo in the middle. I don't mind the logo in the middle. Every company's got their logo in the middle of belts now. That really isn't an issue. Even though I prefer the big gold, I think it looks quite good on Rollins. When this gold belt got unveiled by Triple H, I couldn't adjust. It's the biggest problem, right? So none of the viewers here can see this, but behind me on my wall, I have a plywood pinboard wall that is used to like pin up things for various essays and for different pictures and all the like here in my university accommodation. That is what the world title to me looks like. It looks like a bit of wood that hasn't been properly painted on the background. it looks like, it looks like it's been plucked straight out of the set of the B movie, like with a honeycomb background. The colors clash horribly on television in the light, and that's what we've got to work out. Because the problem is if you look at it like they've released pictures of it more like in the replica style, it doesn't look as bad. But what you've got to remember, there we go. See, so it doesn't look quite as bad. I still think it looks. I still think it looks like a toy title that gets put on action figures. Like even I'm not a big fan of the original WWE title design, but this version of the Rock unveiled. But at least that one, like you have the black sort of design, and there's kind of the gold feels less intrusive because that doesn't look gold; it looks yellow. And in the light, it just looks like wood that hasn't been properly painted yet, and it just something about it. Really irked me. And when they unveiled it, when the things opened, like when they took the veil off, I just laughed. And I thought, oh, so it's the Universal title again. At least it's not blue. Like at least it's not blue or red. It's not a jam belt anymore. I just really don't think it looks particularly pleasing. And every shot they've shown of Roman wearing it, different people wearing it, I just don't like it. Now, having said that, will I grow to not care? Sure, we've lived through the spinner belt, another horrible title design that we all got used to. Like, I'll get used to it, and I'm not that bothered what titles look like. They can look like however they want. They're at the end of the day, they'll be fought for in good matches, and that's fine. But boy, I really hate it. I really hate it. And I don't think even Roman, to his best efforts, who's made everything, I don't even think it on him looks good. But I know people disagree. I know people like it. Maybe I'll grow to like it myself. But my first thought when they took the sheet off was, oh dear God.
Yeah, no, I totally get what you mean in there. I mean, it's as I said before, I think they just played it safe because obviously they care more about obviously marketing and whatnot, and for them to actually do this, it clearly shows that whenever they give a title belt to an NFL player or anyone that's outside of wrestling, they're going to use that one as their primary title belt instead of giving someone the World Heavyweight Championship belt. The World Heavyweight Championship belt, I've grown to like it. It feels like, obviously, it does feel like a remix, like an absolute remix of the World Heavyweight title belt. They just pasted the WWE logo right in the middle. So yeah, you grow to like it, and it's obviously got little crest indents inside it around it as well, which I didn't realize until Michael Cole mentioned it at Night of Champions. But yeah, this one, I don't think it's gonna go well. I think also they know it's gonna be probably a good merch seller. I think it must be doing well as merchandise as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I'm definitely going to miss the entrance with the two titles on Roman because it looked banging. It looked great.
Yeah.
So reverting back to just one is going to be a bit of a shock for me. But what about you, Coby? What is your thoughts on this new world title design? Do you agree or disagree?
I mean, the one thing you said is you think they're playing it safe, and that's at the end of the day, that is the purpose of this. Is this belt is the flagship championship of the company. It is the belt that Roman Reigns is going to wear for the foreseeable future, probably for the next at least year. Because who knows if he's even going to face Cody at WrestleMania next year. I don't know if he will. At the end of the day, I 100% believe the World Heavyweight is a phenomenal belt. If I was looking at it, I'm saying because the United Kingdom Championship is no longer in the not the transition, but it's no longer in use. This is now the most beautiful belt in wrestling, I think. But then we have, of course, the new belt. So the one thing that mattered, I look at it and I think this lighting does not look. The lighting and the arena lighting and the show lighting, I don't know if it's the cameras, I don't know if it's the spotlights, I don't know what exactly it is, but the lighting does not do this belt any favors. And to me, and this is what you can see when you look at the render like this, you can look at the render and you can see all the black gems in the W. And I think that's the mistake of this belt. Is I think if you kept it like the old one, but if you kept the big W a solid white, I think it looks better. I understand the purpose of giving it a new the new coat of paint and putting the gold in it and making it the undisputed champion at the bottom. But that's the thing. We got to recognize that they were never going to change it that much, which is the smart thing, because like you said, we're playing it safe. They send it to the champions. This is the one that is the flagship belt, and they send it to the Super Bowl champions. They'll send it to the World Series champions. They'll probably send it to the Stanley Cup and all the other people who got it. Mm-hmm. This is the belt design that I don't want to say we're accustomed to, but this is the top belt. Obviously, it doesn't look as good as the World Heavyweight belt, and obviously it's going to take some time to get used to. But I think the Black Gems is the mistake of this belt, because that lighting does not do it any favors. And this is the thing, is we're talking about them revealing it and them unveiling it. When the lighting does not make the belt look good, that does not make the belt look good, period. And that's the mistake with this belt. So, I mean, obviously we'll get used to it, but I almost agree. I think if this was the choice, I would have stuck with the two belts for Roman right now.
100%. I do think the lighting definitely was that made it obviously give it a bad lighting on the unveiling of the title belt. But yeah, it's weird how because I do remember when they unveiled other title belts, or even when The Rock unveiled his one with the scratch logo, the lighting was more dimmed and more more focused on just the ring, whereas this one the lights were everywhere. So I don't know, maybe it might have been just because of the arena, the lighting was really bad and gave it a bad look. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, like I said, I'm gonna completely miss the two belt entrance with Roman Reigns. Now, quick question before we move on. Sorry. Again?
Something I wanted to just bring up while I think of it. They also don't know what the word undisputed champion means, because he is a disputed champion, because there is a world champion on the other brand. So for them to have undisputed champion in big letters across the bottom of the title, he is disputed because he's not the only world champion now.
Again,
but it's still the concept of, we know the history, and the history is he did merge the Universal and the WWE. Yeah, obviously they could have dropped the Universal once this reign's done and just went with the WWE, and then this is the puzzling thing, is yes, he merged them, but the WWE has the 50 plus years history. Yes, they renamed it because it wasn't WWE for 50 years, but the Universal Championship has the 1,000-day reign. So they are in that pickle where they really couldn't just drop one and raise the other because of that situation.
That makes sense. The
Undisputed makes sense because of the past, because the new belt is obviously the new world champion. So it is. I understand the issue, because now they're saying undisputed champion while there is a world title now, but it was still because of the history. So yeah, I don't know.
No, that's a fair point. I think you pretty much broke it down perfectly. Quick question before I move on now. So obviously we have the new world championship, world heavyweight championship, and obviously that's been divisive. We also have the world heavyweight championship, which has also been divisive. Between the two companies, who, in your opinion, currently has the better belt designs? Do you think it's WWE or AEW right now? Let's start with David.
That's tough. Is there an option to say NXT?
No.
If I had to pick AEW, because I think the AEW title is nicer. But I think they've I prefer the old US title design. I prefer the old IC title design. The Raw and SmackDown titles I don't like very much. The women's titles are corporate logos. A lot of the world titles are corporate logos. So I'd say probably AEW, although they're not much better. But I prefer the world, so I'll say AEW.
Fair enough. Coby?
That's the thing. It's the puzzling thing. And I mean, there's two standout championships. AEW has, of course, their top belt, which isn't even in use, because we have the big Burberry belt, or whatever he calls it.
The
And
Triple
that is
B.
that. It's the Triple B. Is it the big Blueberry belt or something like
Yeah,
that?
basically, yeah.
Something along those lines. The old one's much better. Of course, the original's better, and the Burberry belt's going to be gone when MJF leaves or loses the title. Period. So obviously, if you want to play technicality, the original's not in use. But the other belts I really like of AEW is the the tag titles. I really like those, but the rest are kind of hit and miss. Like the TNT's still weird. The TBS is meh. I guess the international is solid, and the women's world are solid too.
I love the international titles.
The international's not bad as well. WWE, of course, we have the most beautiful belt in wrestling, the new World Heavyweight Championship. And then we have the Intercontinental, which I actually am a big fan of it. Obviously, it's not no white strap original like it used to be, but I still think it really looks good. But
it looks good on certain people. Like Gunther makes it look great
on certain people. It looked good. It looked good enough on Sami Zayn. It doesn't look good. I mean, it looked good on Styles when he had his reign as well. Oh, yeah, it didn't look necessarily good on Big E or Apollo Crews. It was all right with Shinsuke, I think. I don't know. I can't remember. I can't remember that far back. But then, like you said, the cons, we have the penny. Wow. They used to be the penny belts. Now they're the silver penny belts for the world tag titles. They're not the undisputed tag titles of WWE, which they need to do something there. But I like the fact that they are spacing them, because we got the new world heavyweight like a month ago. This one's today. I think we're gonna get new ones soon. Like within give another month, we might get some more unveilings. They might wait until SummerSlam to unveil a couple new ones, like the women's titles, maybe. But yeah, I mean, the women's title aren't like AEW has the women's title beat. I guess you kind of got to go AEW because the only standout belt WWE has. And we know NXT UK is defunct now, and that sucks because they had the most beautiful belts. And now they don't. Now it's defunct. Not defunct, but it's becoming NXT Europe, which is on pause because of the company merge. But so I guess right now you got to go AEW, but WWE isn't far behind at all, especially when we're getting future title designs being unveiled within the next year at least, or a few months.
No, I hear that. Okay, then cool, fair enough. This is move on straight into the SmackDown episode, the rest of the SmackDown episode. First off, it was the Austin Theory and Pretty Deadly versus the Brawling Brutes. This was a start off initially he started off with Austin Theory starting off his own show, even though there was no props, nothing, called Austin Theory Live. Sounded very generic as hell. They didn't really do much for him. If anything, is living up to what John Cena has been pretty much saying about him in his face and backstage and on interviews. But anyway, so that happened. Then the Brawling Brutes match happened. As far as I remember, I do like Pretty Deadly. The reason I really like them is because they are very innovative in how they win stuff. Like the past couple of weeks, to my collection, I don't remember any other team being as innovative as them. Like last week, I can't remember which one, the one with the long hair. Well, they both have long hair, but the blonde long hair. And he tangled himself in the ropes and he untangled himself, helped his teammate out, untangled himself again, and now this one as well at the end where he was pretending that he confused one of the opponents. I think it was Rich Holland by draping the ring apron across his face, so you couldn't tell who it was. And then obviously his tag team partner jumped in at the end. It was a decent opener. It was cool for what it was. But let's start with you, Coby. What did you think about this match?
I mean, that's the thing is like you said, Pretty Deadly are almost masters of tag psychology, and this is where they have to be able to sell us. They have to be that good to the point where we hate when they're doing new stuff like that. Obviously, there are people who can say, "Wow!" I mean, there's people like FTR who can compete for tag psychology, but I mean, that's the thing. Pretty Deadly right now are the top tag team in WWE in terms of tag psychology because they know two people in the ring, all that jazz. I thought this match was really fun, and I don't want to say it went too long, but it went a decent amount of time. I think it went. I'm pretty sure it was the longest match of the night because it got 2 commercials. Mm-hmm. I mean, there was a lot of good stuff. I mean, of course, you got the pop for the Brawling Brutes or Sheamus getting the hot tag, and Sheamus is. I mean, this was almost a career resurgence for Sheamus because everyone kind of like, it's just Sheamus. He's not as good. The last year, he's busted his ass.
Since Clash.
Really delivered. Since Clash, he's busted his ass and delivered. And he was busting his ass in the Thunderdome as well. And that's the good thing about it is now we're realizing how good Sheamus is. And the fact of the matter is he almost retired 5 years ago, which is insane to say. And he came back and he's on top of the world. I found it interesting. They're kind of continuing Theory and Pretty Deadly getting the victory. Obviously, it's good for Pretty Deadly, but Theory, I mean, unless they're going him and Sheamus once again at Money in the Bank, Theory is directionless. And that's almost the biggest takeaway from this, especially coming out of a WrestleMania where you beat John Cena. You better have a direction. You better have something. You better be able to continue to elevate that title because you just beat John Cena, and he's not doing it whatsoever. And we've said it multiple times. Something has to click for Austin Theory to be good and be entertaining, and we haven't seen it yet.
No, yeah, agreed. Something's not clicking, and it's obviously goes to show that he just got brought up a bit too soon. I mean, obviously he did have a brief main roster run during the pandemic era, and then he got pushed and back down to NXT, and then he obviously came back again. But yeah, it's pretty. But also another thing I forgot to say, how promo heavy this show was, especially with Roman Reigns as well. Even before Austin Theory was even on the mic, I think there was like 2 or 3 promos that came on before, and he was just there. I can imagine.
Well, that was the funniest thing is they did the whole opening promo, which was phenomenal. WWE's undefeatable in promo packages like that. But that was the funny thing is they were like, oh, and this is Austin Theory standing in the ring. Mm-hmm. And then let's show WrestleMania 37 when Roman defeated Edge and Daniel Bryan. Yeah. It's like, well, why would you go from Roman to showing Theory doing nothing to Roman and then Theory doing what he did? Which is, I don't know. It was an odd promo. I don't know. But yeah, exactly. That is a good point to say that the episode was very centered around Roman Reigns' accomplishments.
Oh yeah, 110. They made sure of that. What about you, David? What did you think of this match and the outcome?
I really liked it. I thought it was a really fun opener. I like Austin Theory quite a lot. I think he is currently completely directionless, like you said. But I do think there's a lot of raw potential. I feel like Theory might be in a similar position to how I feel about Sammy Guevara right now, in that I think both are really, really funny guys who can get a lot of mileage out of, like Sammy Guevara in the Stadium Stampede. You know, I thought Theory with The Way was hysterically funny, but I think since you've tried to make both of them serious things, I don't think they've necessarily translated well. I think Theory's done better at it than Sammy has, but I think Theory needs to show a little bit more of his personality with Pretty Deadly. Pretty Deadly are very charismatic guys, and by pairing them, if Theory doesn't match the level of those guys, he might drown even more. I think he's definitely got the potential. I thought he did well in the match. I really like the finish. I think Brawling Brutes are great. I think there's a lot of potential with Theory. I think he just needs to come out of his shell even more. I don't necessarily agree that he was called up too soon. I think he was pushed too heavily by Vince McMahon and thrown into the wolves' den and has never really kind of recovered from that. But I think on the main roster, I think he's a good fit, and I think he is an extremely talented guy, and I think he is overhated by a lot of people. But I think he just needs a little bit more right now because, like you said, he is stagnant. He is directionless. But I still find him entertaining, and I did like the match.
Yeah. Time is running out. There's only so much people can actually tolerate with Theory. Yeah, like you say, he just needs an angle, and like you said,
Yeah,
he beat someone as big as John Cena, and
yeah.
since then, nothing.
I think, yeah,
Maybe because maybe the match fell flat. Maybe that's why they kind of fell.
yeah,
They kind of taking a step back from him backstage.
yeah.
Maybe, but
I,
yeah.
I continue to think that the John Cena promo that he cut on Austin Theory was a huge mistake.
Oh yeah,
I
100%.
thought it was a huge mistake because it made Theory look absolutely rubbish,
Yeah.
and he has never recovered. Like in the eyes of the because what I will never understand people who've spent years accusing John Cena of burying younger talent, and then he goes on television and says that nobody cares about Austin Theory and exposes the character, and everybody goes, "Yay! We love you, John. You're telling the truth. We love you." When you've just completely destroyed him.
Assassinated him. Yeah.
I mean, like, see, that's the thing. This is the funniest thing is it was 2 or 3 weeks ago on Mailbag Monday when I can't remember who asked the question, of course, but it was in the next 10 years from now, who do you think are the top 4 guys of the company? And nobody said Austin Theory. And that was the puzzle. That was the thing that I got out of that. I was like, people don't believe in him. And that's the thing. We see Roman Reigns. Of course, he got overpushed, and it took him turning heel and getting obviously the Thunderdome and getting the time to tell the story of the Tribal Chief to really win the people over. Say, oh, this guy's one of the best now. John Cena, same thing. Hulk Hogan, same thing. A lot. Stunning Steve Austin. Steve Austin was stone cold when he was at his hottest. Something needs to happen. Something needs to click for Austin Theory. I have no clue what it is. Nobody knows. Is it a face turn? I don't think anyone wants to see that either. But I don't that's the puzzling thing is nobody it's a weird thing to say that Theory is so young and we're all viewing him as like, yeah, this guy really has the potential. But after, like you said, Cena's promo literally burying him. And then it's like the match that fell flat. Triple H's almost hardcore reset on Austin Theory went to waste because he was doing really good up until his Cena promo. And now it's just like, well, where does he go from here? Who beats him for the title? I don't even know. And I mean,
exactly.
there's a lot of puzzling things from this. There is.
100%. So yeah, obviously that happened. And then there was another tag match that happened in there, which barely anything happened, which was the OC and Hit Row, which we're not going to get into, but that happened. And then first of all, we are going to get into is the Grayson Waller effect segment happened. I'm not too sold on this show. I don't know what it is. I maybe it's because I'm just not sold on Grayson Waller. I'll be honest. I have not seen much, if any, of his work in NXT. So I that's why I'm not really been sold on him just yet. But I see Kobe's shaking his head there. Whatever, bite me. But yeah. It's somebody if it worked in NXT, it's not really yet transitioning well over in the main roster. I don't know what it is. But something is just making it just be like it's nowhere near how the Cutting Edge was, or the Jericho. What was the show called again? Was it called the Jericho show? I can't remember.
Highlight Reel.
Highlight Reel, yeah. It's nowhere near up there, or like the KO show. It hasn't got that impact yet. But we'll see what happens. But yeah.
The KO show main event at WrestleMania.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's nowhere near there. That's what I'm saying. So he's got a long way to go. But his special guest was the Raw Women's Champion Asuka, which I don't know why is she the Raw Champion? She's still on SmackDown. Like, what was the whole point of the swap? Anyway,
they didn't swap the title. Well, yeah, they swapped. The Raw Women's Champion got drafted to SmackDown, and the SmackDown got drafted.
That's
Raw.
fair enough.
It was still. It goes down to the logic of the draft, but we can only rant so much about that. Sorry, Chaos.
Yeah, it just makes it so redundant. It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, so yeah, Asuka came out doing Asuka things, and then she teased it with the blue goo. And then who first came out? Was it Selena?
Io.
Yeah, they had a little face off. cussing each other out in Japanese. Found it very hilarious. I thought it was pretty cool. And then Bailey came out, and then who else came out? Was
Shotzi.
it Shotzi came out, and then
Lacey,
Lacey, and then
Evans,
Zelina
and then
Vega.
Zelina.
They're all saying about who they're gonna be Miss Money in the Bank, all this kind of stuff, and they started arguing, and then there was a little brawl. And then Grayson Waller was in the back saying, "I love this. We should have girls on my show more often." All this kind of stuff.
That was the best part.
Funny. And then yeah, that happened. So and then
Asuka escapes. Asuka escaped. Said no one's ready for Asuka. Then Bianca attacked her.
And then Bianca Belair came out and they had a scuffle. I mean, like if it was a real fight, it was like it was just they were just hugging at the end of the day. But anyway, that happened. And then obviously that was just before the match between Zelina Vega and Lacey Evans was about to start. And then during the commercial, Lacey Evans hit Zelina Vega with the Rumors Right. After all that, she still couldn't put down Zelina Vega because Zelina Vega won with a code red, and she is advancing. Of course, she qualifies for the Money in the Bank match in London 02 on July 1st. Yeah, all that stuff happened. Let me just give it to you, David. What did you think of this whole segment and match? Do you agree with it all? And yeah, it's all on you.
I mean, the segment was boring and the match was boring. It was. I mean, like the Asuka and Io stuff was fun, but otherwise, the match just doesn't really like. The segment was just a lot of. It's your typical parade of people coming out and going, "This is why I will win," and there was just no cohesion. Here's my problem. I love Grayson Waller so much. When they did the WWE draft, he was the person who I said straight out of the draft, that's your guy to watch. And I don't feel like they've capitalized on him because I do think he was the shining light of 2.0, oh, not 2.0, shining light of NXT for while he was there. I think the major problem is that the Grayson Waller effect. That is the name of the show, isn't it? Yeah. My problem with that show is that it's not putting him over, it's putting other people over. He is like a lot of the Grayson Waller effects in NXT that I remember are shows where he would interview the people he was going to fight or the people he would eventually fight. Why is he interviewing Asuka? He's not going to fight. At least when he did it with AJ, like they've got history and he could fight AJ, but he's not going to fight Asuka. He's not going to fight Shotzi. He's not going to fight Lacey. So why is he there? He was. I thought it was entertaining in the segment, but it's doing nothing for him. What you need to show with Waller is that Waller is not just arrogant Miz. He is more than that, but they're not letting him be more than that because they're just going back to the tried and true. It's not doing anything for him, and I think Waller needs to wrestle because he's a great wrestler. He just needs. We need to. You need to show the main roster audience why you should care, because as an NXT viewer, I care about Waller, but nobody else does because they've given you no reason to. So the problem with Bora, I mean, I will not let my personal feelings on Lacey Evans get in the way of my opinion on the match. I thought it was boring, regardless of how scummy Lacey Evans' opinions are. It was fine. Zelina will do great in Money in the Bank. I just thought the segment overall was a bit dull, and we're back to Bianca and Asuka again, and it's just not. We're back to stagnant and stale, even with a new champion. And I like everybody involved outside of Lacey, but just no, it did nothing for me.
Yeah, no, I hear that. Yeah, it looks like it's leading to Bianca and Asuka for the rematch, most likely at Money in the Bank. And then Zelina, well deserved. And yeah, they just gotta stop this thing with Lacey Evans. They have rebooted her so many times than a Spider-Man or a Batman franchise. It just keep on rebooting, and it's just not working. So yeah, it's I don't know where you go with her. I think they tried it all, and then they gotta look at different pastures new. But anyway, that's my thought on it. What about you, Coby? I know you're waiting to diss me back about what I said about Vince Waller, but
well, I mean that's the thing. Like you said, you didn't watch it in NXT, so you get the pass. But this is what it is, and we know Logan Paul's character is he wants that viral moment of the match. He had that match with Ricochet. He had the match with Rollins, and he's always getting these moments that are go viral and are a big thing. That's essentially what Grayson Waller is. Grayson Waller was that talk show where like David said, he would have it with Braun Breaker. He would have it with Carmelo Hayes. He had it with the Iron Survivor people he was in the match with, like Axiom, Carmelo. What was it? Axiom, JD, Carmelo, and one other I can't remember off the top of my head for the Iron Survivor. But it was a matter of he used it in the feuds, but the way they're presenting it on SmackDown is like he said, we're not getting a reason to care. What they're doing is this is very much plug and play Miz TV. Oh, let's get him on the card. Let's get him on the card. The one thing that's funny is the fact that the announcer is giving him all these names, and it's like, well, then again, the show's falling flat because he's not having that viral moment on the show. Like the infamous one was Braun Breaker getting the phone. Grayson was live streaming and doing a dive over the top rope onto Grayson Waller while holding his phone. That's what it is. It was the viral moments, and like the AJ Styles one was and new World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins, and it was a stare down. This one, it was a little better because we got to see his personality. Like, oh, this is great! 6 women just in a shouting match. It was fun. It was entertaining. That 2 seconds of the whole segment, but it's different. And the thing is the one thing I saw seeing this segment is Asuka's high-fiving fans. Aren't you heel? Or are you staying face and Bianca's going heel? Because if obviously they don't air these, but the WWE.com exclusive of Bianca Belair, she's gaining that almost a heelish attitude now. So why the entire direction of Asuka has been shite. It's been garbage right now, and it's weird. It's stupid. I'm not interested in another rematch. The Mania match is really good. The Night of Champions one was meh. Obviously, they got to do something better. But the thing that kind of is weird to me, and I'm running on, is we're seeing Bianca Belair develop without the title when she didn't do any character development through her championship reign. And now she does the second she loses the title. That bugs me. And then the Money in the Bank qualifier. I mean, it was a given. Zelina got the backlash rub. She needs something soon, and obviously, she deserved the win more than Lacey Evans. I think Lacey did her job. She showed up. She dominated and almost tossed around Zelina Vega for a bit. Treated her like the quote unquote shrimp she said she was, and then Zelina won. She did her job. That's what you can hope for in a wrestler. But that's about it. I don't know what else to say about it necessarily.
Can I just quickly say someone who didn't do their job in this segment was Michael Cole, because I have never heard anyone less interested in a match in my entire life. Throughout the entire thing, Michael Cole is just going, yeah, and a head. Barrett is trying, and Michael Cole's there going, and we have a head scissors takedown from Lacey Evans, and then we'll throw into a head.
He must be so happy he doesn't have Vince, because I'm pretty sure Vince would be in his ear like, sell it, goddammit, sell it. So yeah, I could tolerate him now.
Do you know what? If it would have made Michael wake up, I'd have had Vince in his ear telling him to it was so. If the commentators don't care about a wrestling match, then why should I?
No, that's fair enough. But yeah, you tuned out way before even if Michael Cole sold it like it was a Mania match, you tuned out anyway. So especially if it was Lacey Evans in it, so that's fair.
I still hate it, but at least I mean, Michael Cole cared about it more than I did.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, I hear that. Yeah, I'm glad that Zelina Vega's getting the rub that she deserves after Backlash. And yeah, Lacey Evans, stay off my screen. All right, next up is of course the other qualifying match, but for the men's, which was consisted of LA Knight and Montez Ford. Yeah. So yeah, this was for me very enjoyable. I love the reactions that LA Knight is getting because he so thoroughly deserves it, especially when we saw him pop up at Night of Champions. He was just sitting in the crowd, and the pop that he got was just amazing. So, I hope they have big plans for him. And he's one of my top favorites. And obviously going into after the result of this match, LA Knight won via the greatest move of all time, the schoolboy roll up, with the help of the ropes. The match itself was great. Everyone was cheering for him when LA Knight won. So he qualifies to go into Money in the Bank. He's already my favorite to win. I want him to win. I hope I get to witness history when I'm at the when we're at the show. But yeah, let me just put it through to you, Coby. What did you think of the match? Do you think LA Knight was the right person to win? And as a quick side note, what's your who do you want to win Money in the Bank, even if they're not even qualified yet? Who would you want to win? But yeah, those are the questions.
Like that's the thing. Like you said, he was the right person to win. Obviously, Montez got the rub in the chamber as a solo person getting in the U.S. title chamber, which phenomenal match. I can't say any more. I can't say much more greater things about that match. Even though that was not grammatically correct. LA Knight was the right person to win. He's over. We say this enough with Ben. Over is over. When you got the people on the level he is, you gotta use him. You gotta do something with LA Knight. He's a star. The Saudi Arabian crowd wanted him. London's gonna go crazy for LA Knight, knowing who it is. He's gonna be it's gonna be great. Hearing the Yaz, hearing the LA Knight when he does the point is going to be great in London. He's just getting over organically. I mean, this is the one thing where people were like, oh yeah, they were pumping in booze, editing booze in. It was like, that doesn't sit right, because you got to go with the crowd. You got to go with the crowd with this one. He's getting over. You can't keep him as a heel. Obviously, you don't want him to go pure babyface and then him get stale, possibly. But he was the right victory. I mean, that's the thing. As of right now, the people in it are Ricochet, Shinsuke Nakamura, and LA Knight. Out of those three, LA Knight's the only winner. I don't see Shinsuke getting it, because then that's like they're gonna try to push him again. I don't see use in that. Same for Ricochet. I don't see use in putting him in that type of a spot. LA Knight's someone who, face or not, is going to carry that briefcase. And he's going to tease the heck out of Roman Reigns. He's going to look good with that briefcase at the end of the day. I don't know who else. Obviously, there's a question whether or not someone like Logan Paul's in it. Maybe he is. I don't necessarily know. I don't think he is. He might have a match in London in general. But the front runner to me right now has to be LA Knight. It can obviously has changed when people are gonna be qualified soon, but I don't know who else can skew me away from LA Knight.
Mm-hmm. Good choice. Yeah. Well, let me just get your two thoughts on this, David. What's your thoughts on the match, and who would you want to win Money in the Bank also?
So the match I really liked the match. I sound like a broken record because that's the same thing I said about the 6-man. But I really liked the match. I think it was really nice to see LA so over. He always is every week. When you can make people boo Montez, that is a sign that you are over. Fun match. And there was one point where LA did a moonsault and nearly landed right on top of his head. Please don't die. But I like the finish. Nice to see some heelish tendencies, even though the crowd is still behind him. Feels like a nice little tweener thing. Like I said, he is of the three who have qualified easily the most likely. And even with the qualified matches they've announced, which is Butch and Baron Corbin and Santos Escobar and Mustafa Ali, I think he's got more chance than all of those all of those lads. My pick for a long time has been Logan to win Money in the Bank, because I think having a heel that nobody wants to win the briefcase, a heel that nobody wants to win the title, carrying a briefcase like a threat, is a fun gimmick, and you can take it on all these talk shows and his rubbish boxing matches and all those things. But hearing the reactions for LA, if Logan's not in it, and I don't think he will be now, give it to LA, easy, give it to LA. Because he is over like Rover. He's good in the ring. I hate to compare people to The Rock, because I seem to compare a lot of people to The Rock. But he does have that level of just charisma just oozing out of every word that he says. Even, I don't think he's the greatest wrestler in the world, LA Knight. But he does have, he is very, like The Rock, he's very charismatic when he wrestles, his body movements and his, the way that he involves the crowd. So yeah, give it to him. Why not? And I think have LA go after Seth, because I don't think anyone buys him beating Roman. But
that's what I was about to say. Like, I think that's the loophole, thankfully, because obviously you got the 2 titles now officially. It's I'd say probably Seth would be the best logical place, because I was in my head while he was talking, I was just like, I was so focused that he obviously is a SmackDown star. He would have to go for Roman, but I don't think he's the right person to take the title from him. But then when you just
no one buys.
No one will buy it, yeah. And the next person that wins Money in the Bank, they have to actually cash in and win, because we just recently had someone lose when trying to cash in the Money in the Bank contract. So the next person has to win the title, whoever it's going to be. So yeah, Seth would definitely be the right choice if he keeps it until then, because God knows when he would cash in. But yeah, I agree with the Rock comparisons. I mean, people, even I was watching an interview with Chris Van Vliet, and he even just talking normally, he sounds like The Rock. And even Chris was like, well, yeah, you do sound like The Rock. Like, just not thinking about it. So and the charisma is obviously carries that as well, but he's not playing a part. That's just how he sounds like. So yeah, the Rock comparisons, there's nothing wrong with that, really. So yeah, the match was fine, all good. LA Knight to win for Money in the Bank. Now let's go to the actual main event, shall we? So obviously, earlier in the night, Paul Heyman was visiting Aiden Pierce, saying, he was about to obviously give his list of demands. Aiden Pierce stopped him, saying, "Don't worry, Usos ain't going to be at the celebration. Double security, all that good stuff. The celebration will go on as planned." Then Paul Heyman just looked at him and said on this thing, "Cole Roman Reigns," all that kind of stuff. Came to the main segment. Triple H comes out, listing all these great names. He compares Roman Reigns to Michael Jordan and Muhammad Ali, and everyone will talk about Tribal Chief for generations, which I can't argue with that. The guy's made history, like one of the biggest milestones ever in the company. So lists all that kind of stuff, introduces him out. Obviously, we've talked about the title, and we're giving out 2-2s on that. Obviously, celebrating it. Pyro goes off. The Usos come out. Immediately, Wade Barrett says, "Fire the security, fire all of them. They're useless." And then commercial, come back, and then Jimmy just lays into Roman, saying like, I gotta protect my brother. You treat us like garbage. We've had enough of this. All this good stuff. Jay's obviously in the back, just completely sweating like like. I'm gonna say I'll keep it clean for you, but he was just like
sweating like a pig.
That's the way. That's the clean version of it. Yeah, that's fair enough. And then eventually Roman Reigns was about to say something. Jimmy completely mushes his face. Everyone was saying like "Holy S" in the crowds. And then obviously Jimmy Jay comes in between them. Obviously separates them, saying like, "You're a brother. We shouldn't be doing this. We should obviously be running things again." Jimmy obviously is obviously saying like, Jay's my brother, Solo's my brother. He's gonna use you as well. You see Solo obviously conflicted, and then Roman obviously comes out and says like, what he's got a mouth. Let him decide. Then Solo obviously says like, "I acknowledge my tribal chief, but he's with my brother. These are my brothers." He sides with them. Obviously, Jimmy eventually. I'm kind of messing it up all over the place here, but Jimmy obviously says like, "We are brothers. let's run this. We're the bloodline, ain't we? All this kind of stuff. You see Roman obviously being conflicted and stuff, and he eventually just goes and hugs him. He's saying no. And then obviously Jimmy's just obviously just like, what do you mean no? And then Solo Samoan spikes him. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. They walk out, and then Jay is obviously helping up his brother Jimmy, and then obviously Paul is in the back, like behind Roman, saying like, "What about Jay?" And he says like, "Jay will always do what he always does. He will fall back in line." Walks back, show, and then pretty much we're essentially back where it all started. Jay obviously out there for his brother, protect, and then going against, possibly most likely going to go against Roman now. So we're back from where we were back in 2020, and it's coming back to here. Amazing storytelling. It was like something like watching Once Upon a Time in America, The Goodfellas, Godfather. It was so mafia-esque. It was so beautifully told. Yeah, great way to end the show. But I want to obviously get your thoughts on this. Let's start with David, because I know you smile like a Cheshire cat. So yeah, what's your thoughts when this went down?
It's such good. Won't say the end of that sentence. It's masterful. I won't talk very long, because what more can you say? I mean, these guys are so consistently brilliant. From Heyman to Jimmy to Jay to Solo to Roman, their acting is sublime. It has been for so much of this story. I am still firmly behind Jay being the one to beat Roman. I think if Cody's not going to, I think it should be Jay. I thought this is the best work Jimmy's done. One of my favorite points outside of the no that you mentioned is Roman's subtle little eye movement. Just before the spike, he just sort of flicks his eyes across like setting his dog on Jimmy, and that's the point. Bang, spike. It's such good television, and I could sing that. I've sung the praises of this, every week since, with the Sammy stuff and through here. My only complaint, and it's not a complaint as such, because I sound like a broken record, I do think the story would be more interesting without the belt on Roman. But at the same time, if we're going with what I just said, which is for Jay to take the title off Roman, then it will make sense, and I think it will be worth it. But I don't think this story needs the title, but at the same time, maybe I'm wrong about that, because as I say those words, I'm thinking the fact that Roman still has those titles and the Usos kind of have become disappointing outcasts because they don't have their tag belts anymore, and that fuels Roman's arrogance. It does make sense as a motivation. I just think it's kind of left Cody floundering, but this isn't about Cody. This is about the people on screen, and the people on screen were just sublime. And yeah, I was grinning like a Cheshire cat for a reason, because if we get this on television every week, this is the problem when Roman's not here. Is that the whole thing just grinds to a halt, and then when he comes back, it feels like such an injection of energy. Yes. But I just wish we had him more on television, because the man is a master, and everybody in this segment was masterful. I thought it was a tremendous way to end the show.
100%. It's crazy how it just taken him to turn heel for us to actually realize how great it was. But
I've heard reports they want to turn him face again. I really hope they're not true.
If they do that, I'm just saying, if they do that, I'd say wait until he actually loses the title. He goes away for a while, and then when he comes back, he will get a natural pop anyway. Yeah. So I would say, don't do it whilst this is happening. Definitely, once he loses the title, he deserves a break. I mean, goddamn. Yeah. I mean, he deserves a break. So go away for about 6 months, whatever. Come back on one of the big 4 pay-per-views, and then do it that way. Because I feel like it almost feels like the title is corrupting him, kind of thing. Yeah. And then when he actually loses it, that's when he's just like, oh yeah. You know what I mean? So I think that's like you said, the arrogance in here. He's the only one in the bloodline that has a title right now. So definitely do that. But what about you, Coby? What's your thoughts in this segment?
I mean, you said it right there. The arrogance of Roman Reigns' character is enrooted with that championship. While it was the Universal, now it's the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. Right now, that title is so deeply enrooted with this character and with this storyline that if you take it, it's unless like it I don't necessarily think it plays out to the best of its ability if the title's not on this and involved in this story. The one thing I can say is, and this was a statistic when I woke up, is the social media numbers was like not 18 point something million. It's got to be over 20. This is the bloodline. The entire bloodline story is the gift that keeps on giving. We're getting these numbers. We're getting, like, with Sami Zayn's heel turn, with Sami Zayn's entrance, with a lot of the Roman Reigns stuff. The WWE business is hot very much because of the bloodline right now. There's obviously a lot of other factors. Seth Rollins being as hot as he is right now, as well as Cody Rhodes being here and not injured on the shelf like he was last year. WWE has had a tremendous year, and rightfully so. This story is going to go down as one of the greatest stories ever told because of the length it went, and the fact that it is this hot for this long. I agree with the statement that David said, that Roman Reigns being off TV somewhat puts a halt to the story, and it sucks that we don't have him on a lot of TV. But that's almost part of the extension of it, is we don't have to have Roman on TV to evolve the story. Yes, it got stagnant after WrestleMania, but we can't just have this year-long story go 6 months because he's on TV every week. So I 100% agree. I don't know what the direction is. I think there's two things that are coming from this match before we finish up the show. One, Solo's entire character in NXT was based on the fact that his brothers left him, and the fact that he was fighting by himself. He was fighting solo. That story has to be told. Mm-hmm. The other story that has to be told is Jey Uso's confliction of, do I side with my brother? Do I side with Jimmy, or do I fall in line? That's the thing, that they understand what they're doing. We are looking forward to what happens next SmackDown and the SmackDown after. We don't know where it's going, and that's what is the genius of this entire storyline, because we saw it with the Honorarius and we're seeing it now. It is storytelling at its finest. It is one of the best stories ever told in wrestling, and that is a fact that has to be stated, and it's true.
Yeah, facts. Yeah, definitely one of the greatest. I'll just throw it out just before we wrap up. Could this be the greatest WWE storyline ever told? I mean, does this, in your opinion? I know obviously we don't know yet, depending on how this is landing and the landing and stuff. But the fact, because of the longevity and all that kind of stuff, and everything that keeps you engaged, I mean, surely this must be better than, Rock and Austin WrestleMania X7. It's not X7. Is it X7? Yeah, X7. Yeah. Better than John Cena, Randy Orton. Better than Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart. Like, surely this must surpass all of those. Would you agree?
May I throw out as a counterpoint that we did have the Fiend versus Randy Orton feud.
Jesus Christ!
Which I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm not being. Please, that's going to be clipped tomorrow, isn't it? Straight up there. David Sheldon thinks Fiend versus Randy Orton is better than the Bloodline. No, I don't. I think Bloodline it is up there, if not.
We had Bobby Lashley versus Goldberg go multiple matches too. That was another. Which, I mean, in actuality, that match was actually nice. It was good for what
it was. Serviceable.
Exactly. It was tolerable. Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Take us home, Chaos. Take us home.
Yes. So we'll come to the end of the show, guys. Thank you very much, Coby and David, for joining us on this glorious late night episode of Wrestling Republic Daily. Make sure you obviously like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, and also follow us at Wrestling Republic. But other than that, I have been your host, Chaos. This has been Wrestling Republic, the Daily Show, and until next time, guys, peace.